Hello everybody, and welcome to a bit of a developer playthrough and commentary of the original Chester. Well, not the original Chester, there's probably been a couple of people named Chester before this, but the original game Chester, which came out back in 2011 on Xbox Live Indie Games as part of their Summer Uprising promotion, which was definitely a fun thing to be a part of. So getting more detail on that at some point during this playthrough. Sure, we'll have plenty of time to talk about things. It's about 40 levels to get through, I think. This is the Chester Classic version, which you can grab on itch.io. There's also Chester 1 on Steam, which has a few gameplay changes and achievements and cloud saves and all. I believe it's got cloud saves. Don't quote me on that though. But it's got all the Steam bells and whistles, and you can grab that for free on Steam as well. So there's two options for you. But yeah, this is the classic one. Let's jump in and see how this goes. We'll go with medium. I remember the harder difficulties are pretty hard. And hard in... yeah, the difficulties change damage that required to kill things, damage you take, and as well as like how often enemies attack and how quick they are. So it does change it up a decent amount. Oh man, it is a trip seeing all these visuals again. Remember the background. Actually, I think this level ended up with... oh, elemental system. Oh yeah, so every Chester is one of three elements: grass, water, and fire, and every enemy is as well. And as you can guess, grass beats water, water beats fire, fire beats grass. They can do extra damage by attacking with the right Chester. And every level, for the most part, is limited to two different enemy types of either water, grass, or fire. So you can have two Chesters that you can quickly swap back and forth between in the level, and you always have one at the ready with a quick press of a button for what you want to get. And these are collected a ship piece, which unlocks probably the most broken character, which is a Gradius style ship that just you can fly everywhere and blow everything up. And this is a golden spork, which unlocks a spork theme, which yeah, themes are the kind of the main, our styles are one of the main gimmicks of this game, which I'll have to get into in the next level. Can't access any of them quite yet. Yeah, this game was right in the 2010s indie platforming explosion, when indie platformers were the thing to make. I think it's just indie development was a bit trickier back then, so 2D was kind of the way to go, unless you were really knew what you were doing, and I was definitely not in the group of people that knew what they were doing. Yeah, this was the first programming project I did that wasn't like a PHP, like that was the most in-depth I've ever done, was a PHP website, and then I jumped into this and just kind of learned as I was going. Pretty fun time. But the original code for this game is, I remember looking at it a couple of years back, it is amazing, and not in the good ways. Like all the enemies, all their logic for every single enemy is just in one long class file with, I think I just had like a different enemy type, and then it branched off to different logic, but it was all just in one file. Then I remember I actually learned what like child classes are and wanted to go back and clean it up, but never quite got to it. But yes, the objective in every level of Chester is to get back your stolen cupcake. That's kind of, this game is very inspired by classic like NES, Genesis, NES era platformers, and I felt like a lot of times your objective in those games was just something nonsensical and you never even really knew what it was, so I kind of leaned into that nonsensical vibe. So you're getting your cupcakes back from your former best friend, the bad guy. Hope we got ourselves enough stamps to unlock a new Chester. The other main gimmick of this game is you can swap between your alternate reality Chesters on the fly during gameplay. So we got Sketchster, who's got a Metal Man style attack that's directional whichever way you're pointing. Bit Chester, who is very much a Mega Man inspired bit guy. Mr. Chester, got a leaf shield style and a slow. Oh yeah, he animates very differently than the rest of the characters in that he updates like every couple of frames because he's inspired by the old LCD Mr. Game & Watch style stuff. So that's a unique vibe there. Block is just a giant block. I was running out of character ideas, I believe. Chigami is probably my favorite. He is basically a mouth with legs that spits up food. Chesty, who is a plumber. And the artist, formerly known as Chester, who is a mime that rides an invisible bicycle. And when you play as him, the world desaturates, which kind of makes seeing elements a bit trickier. Actually, I know eventually in later on builds, I made it where he ignores the elemental damage system, so when the color evaporates, it doesn't really matter because the colors don't matter quite as much. We got Sir Chesterworth III, who is a classy umbrella wielding gentleman who his special attack has this amazing laugh done by Raina Lamour, is the same duo of people who did the all the sound effects, all the soundtrack, all the audio you hear in this game is done by them, and it is amazing. Easily the strongest part of this game is the soundtrack and the sound effects. It just gives it so much character. They knocked it completely out of the park with this, with everything on this. But yeah, back to where I started that. His special attack is this creepy laughter where he throws a bunch of monocles, and that was my text alert for years. So hearing that again is probably going to make me think I've got some texts from about a decade ago. Then we got the very expensive character who is pretty much a metal slug tank, and as you can imagine, very overpowered. And there's Chest Cobra, which you get for getting all these ship pieces in every single level, which he breaks the game so much that I figure if you've beaten every level and gotten every piece, you can have the broken character. I feel like the unlockables that break things have always been my favorites, so he's definitely in that category. Then Chagaru, who is an interesting little slug guy that moves very, very slowly, but is probably my favorite movement system in the game, and I'm definitely at some point going to make a game that's Chagaru focused, or maybe just take his movement style and make a game around it with a different, not a slug character. But yeah, he moves very slowly, and you charge up a jump, and you launch yourself off at a high speed. Then when you're in the air, you can hit jump again, and kind of pause yourself, charge up again, and then send yourself flying in another direction. Then as you level him up, you get more pauses in midair, so eventually, once he's at level 5, which is the max, you can just be like quickly zigzagging around the levels. And he also turns into a drill and kind of just sticks into walls when he hits them. It's different. He's very fun to play as, but you have to beat every level on the hardest difficulty, so there's probably maybe like 5 people in the world, I'm guessing, who have ever played as him. So yeah, it'll be a surprise when he gets his own little game. Who should I go with? Let's go with Chigami. He's always been one of my favorites. Yeah, most of the characters have like different audio cues for the different things that they do, but Chigami just has, it's like 8 or 9 different yells that apply to everything he does. He is one of my favorites. Oh, looks like we got Grass Chigami. And his jumping animation was very much inspired by, I believe, mosquito wings, which... a little weird. Yeah, he is just a mouth with legs that shoots up rice balls. And as you level him up, he shoots up different food. Not sure. You can't ask me where Chigami came from mentally. Hey, that was the sketchbook just speaking through it. We got their checkpoints that are just big old checks because I was going for the simple vibe there. And these lasers that if you walk through it the wrong color, just instantly kill you. Yeah, the checkpoints were almost soda vending machines that were... The logo and design was very much inspired by 7-Up, but it was checkpoint soda. And you'd grab a soda from the machine, but never got around to getting it into the game. Got these little baby flyers, I believe is their name. They just fly towards you and dive bomb. There's like 3 different tiers of their strength, and I believe the higher ones end up sending out shockwaves when they attack, maybe? Can't remember exactly what the differences are. Yeah, the style system. So every level has a default style that you can swap between the regular style of the world or the style that the level has, and as you beat planets, you can unlock using that style on any planet, and they each have their own kind of gameplay altering benefits. Like block style, you fall a bit more slowly, so it's good for tricky platforming sections. A normal one, your special attack uses up less energy, which I don't use special attacks too much. They are incredibly unbalanced in this game. I think there's a secret up here that's easy to miss. No, guess not. Nope, misremembering. Grab this cupcake and go into space. This is... I can't remember what the rocket's name was. I think he was the second character to be made for this universe, and he was going to actually be a character you talk to, but I believe I just gave up trying to program all that in, so he became a stationary drawing on the map. I want to say his name was Boris. Might have been Boris. He is a little spaceship. Right, he was on the space travel loading screen. All right, welcome to space. You can tackle worlds in any order you want. Each has a difficulty rating. Might be best to go in order. Beating a world will unlock the art style. Make sure you buy Chesters. All right, so we got sketchy corner, so unlocks the sketch art style. LCD, so unlocks the Game & Watch LCD inspired style. Bit Bay, very 8-bit style. Blueprint Vania, the hardest planet, which unlocks the... It's called the Blueprint style, but it's kind of like another sketchy style, just you can see inside of everything, and it's the interior of everything is just kind of weird monster-ish stuff. Or not monster stuff, but just... It's weird. You gotta see it eventually. You gotta see it to get what I'm saying. And Blocktopia, which everything is made of blocks. Let's start with start LCD. We got 6 levels on every planet, I believe. And ooh, we got enough stamps for another Chester. So let's go ahead and grab one. And we're doing LCD, so we'll just grab Mr. Chester. He'll feel right at home here. Ooh, we got the desert setting. Yeah, we got LCD style, or you can see it regular style. There's 8 different themes. Styles. That's what they're called. 8 different styles in the game. And the LCD one, platforms move more slowly, so another helps with platforming bonus. And I'll use Chester since he's my fire guy, and these guys are made of grass. I always love these cacti. They remind, like, the 2 bulbs. I always made me think it looked a bit too much like a face, but I figure it gives it more character. We'll just say I was emulating Mario. Is it 2 or 3 that has the faces and everything? Have the faces and everything. Good old frog enemies, which are essentially the Goombas of this game. I just jumped to my death, which unlocked a bestiary page, so that's good. We learned about gravity. I guess I was stingy with the checkpoints on this one. No checkpoint to jump back to. And the styles, actually, yeah, this game kind of had the initial launch version that went out on Xbox Live Indie Games was rushed very much because I had to meet the deadline for that Summer Uprising promotion, and it was just, we need the game by now, and then, yeah, no pushing that back. Although I ended up with the last day, and I think it was because I was like, hey, I need as much time as possible. But I remember staying up that week before I had to have it finished, and especially like the night before, just pulled all-nighter completely through, just doing testing, trying to make sure that the game didn't crash. And after playing for about, I want to say it was like a 2-hour session testing, the game crashed. And this was 5 in the morning the day I had to have it ready and submit to them. And it just, I was like, okay, I hope they just don't encounter that crash. And they never did, thankfully. So I passed the testing and was in the promotion, and it was all great. But, oof, that was a fun time. Oh, we leveled up, and we got ourselves our first brain, which unlocks the information about the enemy that dropped the brain in the bestiary. That's one of my other, aside from the audio, I think my favorite part of this game might just be the bestiary system, which has info on all the chesters, enemies, and items in the game. Oh, just missed it, and got hit in the process. Do I want to kill myself and get that? Yeah, we're gonna go back. I think I had a checkpoint. Yeah. Maybe I don't have the block style to make it easier. Oh, wow. Actually, might need the block style. We'll be back for that one later. Need to lower gravity for ourselves. And let's just go back to fire. I forgot there's a quick swap button so you can go back to your last 2 characters, which kind of was built in mind with every level has 2 enemy types that you'll encounter, like fire, water, or grass. The quick swap was there so you could easily go between whatever 2 you wanted to use. Oop, there's a ship piece up there. Hope I can jump that high. There we go. I think you get to skip a little tricky section. Bonus. And the classic of a level complete screen. You are the win level. Press start to continue, sweetie. Definitely the highlight of the game, I believe, aside from the music. Alright, we got the forest setting again. And this is one of the very few sections in the game that has foreground sprites. I just never got around to placing them in other levels. I tested it out, got it working in this level, and then just never quite got to the rest. Ooh, I think there's a secret up here we gotta get. I'll use him. There we go. I remember most of the secrets still. Otherwise, the save file, I'm pretty sure, is just a blank text, or not blank, but a plain text file. So we can easily cheat our way to the ones we miss. Oh, forgot about his special, the leaf shields. Pretty handy. Yeah, the specials are not balanced at all, but pretty fun to use. I figure, single-player platforming game, who needs balance? Too much balance kills the fun in pretty much anything, I think. Give me unbalanced, broken nonsense. Well, I guess not totally unbalanced, but you get what I'm saying. Oh man, the soundtrack is so good. And one of the odd choices in this game is the solid platforms all display a static pattern. I think I was maybe inspired by the old cartoon Chowder when I went with that. But the real inspiration was that I didn't want to design a bunch of looping textures, and I could not pull it off without them looking, you know, too loopy and just too checkery, or too patterned. So decided to just make it static. Yeah, I think that, at least for me, became part of the whole look of the entire game, was those static patterns that just don't move whenever the screen moves. But when you're trying to support widescreen monitors and things like that, it became a little trickier. So it can look a little stretched and weird, or a little bit too zoomed in on the Chester 1 on Steam version, if that's what you go with, and you've got like an ultra wide monitor or something. Also made for including moving platforms that come out of the solid ground, give them a very smooth look without having to do much for it, which is good because, as mentioned, this was my first big programming project back in the day, so I had no idea what I was doing, and this game was held together by duct tape in the best way. So yes, let's go check out a blueprint level. Are the hardest levels, so it might be a little tricky. Yeah, every Chester as you play through gets stronger, levels up, so they take a little bit less damage and deal more damage. So yeah, this is the blueprint style, which the initial one is more chalk than blueprint. You got some, I like this cactus with the skull face behind me quite a bit, and these tomb things are very much inspired by Mega Man Legends. I love those robot designs always. Oh yeah, the enemies are definitely more annoying on this level, on this planet. Oh yeah, these guys, they have no range. They will follow you the entire level if you don't evade them enough to get them to deload or kill them. Probably the preferred idea is to kill them. Oh, we got the squid enemies who are even more annoying at, or I mean the jellyfish enemies who are even more annoying at following you. There's one of those for every element type too. It's like the slight animation glitches give it a bit more character. Never noticed that yellow line that appears in one of his frames. Come on, get down here so I can kill you. Yeah, everything was designed to fly at a spot, at a range that is annoying to hit. I'm definitely going to unlock Sketchter next, because he has a directional attack, which will make these things a bit easier to kill. Is there a secret over there? Maybe. Looks like it. And I don't get to find out because I died. Okay. That's... Chigami has one death yell that's a bit longer than the other ones. That was the long one. Actually, I'm going to come back here when we got Water Sketchter. Because LCD as my only water attack is not ideal. LCD's attack is a bit slow. Okay, let's go with Chester in the Little City. Oh, I love the soundtrack on this one. Yeah, the soundtrack. Like, if you don't even want to play this game, it's almost worth grabbing it and downloading it just to listen to the soundtrack. Although, now I think about it, there's no sound test mode, which is a real bummer. Actually, did I add that in? The Chester one on Steam might have a sound test mode where you can just listen to everything and jam out. Because this is a soundtrack worth jamming out to. And you can lower the sound effects compared to the music if you don't want to hear constant screams over your music. And the game very much actually the classic version follows the kind of Mega Man logic of if you go off screen, enemies respawn. And the Chester 1 version on Steam, I'm pretty sure they stay dead after you kill them. Enough people absolutely hated that I decided to switch that up. I think I might personally be a bigger fan of they come back. Especially in a game where you gotta grind XP once in a while. And brains. Gotta get those brains. Yeah, brains are pretty rare to drop, and I think I upped the drop rate in the Steam version of the game. There's also, I think one of the styles that you unlock at the end of the game that might be Blueprint changes how often they drop, which is a nice little benefit. Got a secret down here. Well, there's a glitch going on with that animation. He just swapped between two different enemies. Weird. Grab that chip piece and get out of there. Yeah, the old classic version definitely some bugs to be found here and there. But it's actually running a lot better than I thought it would. I was kind of afraid it would not run on a modern system. I think this was Windows 7? Yeah, it must have been Windows 7 when I first did the PC port, I believe. Maybe not. Time is tricky. And we got up here. Let's see. Oh yeah, instead of springs, we got gears that send you flying, which definitely, I think, break the game in a couple of spots if you hit them just right. And an unnecessary jumping puzzle, not puzzle, but just jumping segment with nothing really going on here, just some platforms. That's a lot of the level design in this game is just me randomly placing platforms without much of any thought into it. I had a sketchbook of level designs for the follow-up that are much more themed and thought out and have like reoccurring gimmicks and things, but never quite got around to finishing that one up. Maybe someday that'll be a thing. If there's ever a Chester 2, I think it's going to be a Jet Set Radio Future situation where I kind of ignore the first one was made and just kind of retell the same story, but kind of expand upon it in ways and go for what I was kind of, yeah, expand upon it. Ooh, dodge, that was like the Matrix. Oh yeah. I have, oh man, There was builds of Chester United. That's what the sequel was way back when it was being worked on still. There's a bit more. There's an open world. Oop, missed that spork. Gotta go back and get that. And got Chigami, who's good at these little re-hopping back up. But yeah, Chester United. It won't be Chester United when I make it, but I think most of those ideas are going to get recycled into whatever the next Chester game is. It's more of an not an open world, but an overworld hub. How you get to the levels and a lot more character into it. In the world itself, and made it feel more like a world as opposed to just a bunch of levels that you're going to. But still, mostly just independent levels. Just connected in a more cohesive way. Yeah, I think this is the only part of the game, I believe, that has these platforms that you lower to stop the laser from killing you. This game has quite a few little things like that where I made a mechanic or a feature or something and included it once and then just never quite used it again. But those cannons are everywhere. I think there's a pickup down here. No, I'm thinking of a different spot. Let's go ahead and just jump down here quick. And get some XP. And I gotta level up LCD Chester so his attack becomes a little quicker. I think his attacks become quicker as he levels up. Ooh, we got enough for new Chester, so we are gonna go ahead and grab Sketchster. And might as well keep going through this planet. And if we got Fire Sketchster. Open for water, but that'll work. There's a couple enemies in the game that have these little hearts flying behind them, like this fishbowl guy that the only way to kill him is to hit the heart, and they turn around very quickly. Bit of a pain. I'm just gonna let him live. And Sketchster attack is a little bit weaker because you can aim it, so I had to kind of balance that out. And as you level him up, it gets stronger and starts bouncing too, so that makes it a bit easier to use. You can just fly around blowing up all these frogs. Or frogs. Okay, these things look a little more deserving of being blown up. Creepy Hand Flyers, I believe, is their name. I love the city soundtrack. Might be it's up there. It's hard to say which my favorite track is in this game. Ooh. I don't need a cookie. Yeah, cookies refill your special energy, which, yeah, I've not used it yet. I think his special attack just sends out a bunch of, let's see. Oh yeah, sends out a bunch of bouncing balls. I'll hit him eventually, I swear. There we go. I'm just gonna stick with Sketchster. His attack is easiest to hit those annoying flyers that like to stay directly out of your way. I'm gonna take care of these guys. Ooh, we got another brain. Go see what we're learning about these enemies at this level. Yeah, a lot of levels end with just a pit that you gotta jump over and it tries to sabotage you, or it's just platforms. I don't know why that's a common thing I went back to over and over, but it's a lot of levels I'm noticing after this little jaunt back. Grab that cupcake. Alright, let's see what we got in the bestiary. Frog, not the brightest or most dangerous of enemies, kinda walks around like it's lost. Poor little frogs. Drops evil bouncy green balls. Yeah, I was rushing these descriptions at this point, I guess. Cannon shoots exploding fireballs. Not too exciting. Oh. Fire rock hopper. Very self-conscious about his lightweight. Oh yeah, they fall real slow when they hop up. Poor guy. And there's every time you pick up an item, you also get one. They mostly have very, very stupid little descriptions on them. Sketchster, or the Chester ones, are probably the best. Enjoys watches and games a little too much. If the two were ever combined, he may lapse into a happiness-induced coma. Nobody tell him. Oh, Chigami from the question universe. Allergic to Japanese cuisine, yet continues to consume, although it never stays down. Only thing in his diet has yet to make the connection. Irrational fear of mice from the slug universe. Which makes you think he would take more damage from them, but no, that never made it in. Alright, I think we'll call that a good stopping point for this first little trip down memory lane. I think I'm gonna keep playing through it and turn this into a little multi-part series. Yeah, thanks for sticking around and listening to me ramble on about a game I can't believe was made over 10 years ago. Oh, I missed the 10-year anniversary. I'll have to have some for 15. We'll go with that. Alright, see you next time.